Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Jay Cruz and welcome back to another video. Today is episode 2 of Conversations with Friends, and today we're going to meet with my good friend Raymond Rivera, aka Grateful Ray of Grateful Apparel. I'm excited. Let's go. We are here with my good friend Ray Rivera, Grateful Ray. Before we even get started, I don't know if you even remember this. We are almost hitting 10 years knowing each other. So in October of 2008 or 9, I got this call from a mutual friend of ours named James, saying, "Hey, I got Snake Killer. I got this friend who started a clothing line." Immediately, okay, you know. Yeah. And I was a part of this band called Double Edge at the time. We were just about to release our album, which was a major recording for us because it was a huge investment. A lot of people were involved in it, and we were getting ready to release it. And he says, "Man, Ray's building this website. He wants to know if he can have permission to use one of your songs." For whatever reason, I said, "Can we meet Ray first?" We met at our church, where we were already breaking down the church, and we had started pre-production for the album release. It was
yesterday, by the way.
Me too. You get there, I meet you, and total introvert, by the way, like awkward, you know, almost couldn't make eye contact. Your head was down. I'm like, "James, what are you doing to me?" And I said, "Well, you know, do you have anything?" And we took you to this back room, right?
Yeah. And that's the first time I seen Ephraim.
Right, Ephraim then came in. Manny came in at that time too, and we said, "So what do you got?" And you said, "You know what? Let me show you." And you took out about.
The reason why it was easier for me to show you was because it was hard for me to talk. So it's just easier for me to go in the bag and throw stuff on the floor, just so you know.
And you pulled out about 15 t-shirts.
Yeah, that was like our first run. That was actually our first run of shirts.
And with every shirt that flopped on the floor, it was just shock. What we saw was integrity. We saw, even in your first designs, perfection, like, you know, obviously attention to detail. And we saw opportunity, not in terms of like, we could make money off this guy, you know, but more so, I would like this guy. I want to partner up with this guy in one way or another.
Yeah.
And we love what you were doing. We love what it represented. So I guess I want to start there a little bit, like telling us how this got started, what led to that moment where you came to us and said, "Can I use your song? Here's what I got." And then we'll talk about how we built relationship 10 years later, still here.
We got to backtrack
Go.
to before that very moment. So a year before that moment, you guys had played in Brooklyn, New York. I don't know if you remember that.
That's how we met James.
Yeah, and I was kind of new to the whole church world and all that stuff. I had this encounter, but I was still rough around the edges. So Pastor Raymond had asked me to come to the show. And in my mind, I was like, "Oh, come on, man, I don't want to go to this corny show." That's where I was at the time, right? So I went, not necessarily reluctantly, but kind of just in support of Pastor Raymond. So I went, and then typical show, you know, small scale show, they had like 10 acts.
Yeah.
You remember that day? They had 10 acts.
That's every show.
And it was like, it's like, oh, well, how could you have so many acts? Like, I don't care how good the acts are, it gets boring after a while.
Absolutely.
So it was like act after act after act, like 4 or 5 songs. Mind you, I really didn't want to be there. I looked at my girl, who's now my wife, by the way, at the girl Jessica. I said, yo, after this group were out, they were done, they were breaking down, and I was gonna leave, and something told me to stay. It's that voice. Something said, just stay. And I stayed. And then you guys got on stage, you set up, and from the very first note, because I'm a music guy and I like rock.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to rock and hip hop. I was that dude in the hood who listened to both rock and hip hop. So as soon as you strummed the first note, I was like, yo, this sounds kind of official. And I stayed for the whole set, and you guys blew me away. I was like, wow, this band is official. This is before Grateful.
Right.
This is before, I didn't even think of Grateful, a year prior. Wow. So now fast forward, we had this thing, the 360 houses. I was struggling to keep the doors open, and I said a prayer. I said, God, you got to...
Which is amazing. I want to shed light on that for a real quick second. 360 houses, still going, right?
Correct.
Transitional homes.
For guys struggling with addiction, coming out of jails, homelessness.
I've visited, and I see what's happening there. It's beautiful to see. Dedication to helping people. It's amazing. Great cause. Okay, continue.
Yeah, so 360 houses, we're like 2-3 years into the 360 houses at this point. And I was running out of money. I didn't know how to keep the doors open, this, that, the other thing. I was just struggling. I just said this prayer, and I was like, God, you got to throw me a bone here. That was my prayer. A couple of months later, I don't know the exact time frame from the prayer till this moment. I was in my friend's pool in Florida. I was under the water. I say this story a million times. It almost feels weird. I came out of the water. I said, I'm gonna make some cool t-shirts, and that's where Grateful started. I walked through my friend's house dripping wet. He has this beautiful house in Orlando, Florida, dripping wet. I grabbed a napkin, I drew a Grateful on it, and that's where I started Grateful. And as soon as I started Grateful, I said, I gotta get in touch with that band. The band that I met a year prior, or I heard a year prior, that was you guys.
Yeah.
James made the phone call. Now we're at the church that you guys were practicing at.
We knew something was special there. Less than a week later, we ended up having our album release, and we were promoting Grateful Apparel before it. You didn't even have a MySpace. We had to convince you to start a MySpace account.
We didn't have no online presence, really. It was really early on.
We end up hitting the road a lot together, and we see this company grow into what it is today. I mean, not at that time yet, but growing and growing and growing. I guess one of the things, and I know you're asking, why is the guitarist with a guitar YouTube channel interviewing a business owner of a clothing company and all that? Well, because I've always felt it was always intriguing to me that you always tied in somehow to music. What led you to want to hook up with Double Edge or any group at that point to launch your brand?
Well, it goes back to that voice that told me to stay. Basically, I'm not that smart. You get what I'm saying? The only thing I am is kind of obedient at times to that whisper. So whatever it was told me, looking back, like I can tell you exactly why it makes sense.
Right.
Like looking back, like now I'm a little bit more savvier.
Right.
I have a lot more experience. I could be like, this is why this. But back then, there was no savviness. There was no know-how. There was just that voice that told me to find that band. And in linking with you guys and traveling with you guys around the country, because remember, we traveled around the country with you guys for like 2-3 years, right?
Yeah. All the way to
everywhere.
Yeah.
There was times we drove. I tell this story all the time. I've driven, and you were there. I've driven with you guys 15 hours, spent thousands of dollars in gas, and we've only to sell only one shirt.
Yeah.
I've done that many times, but it was the relationships that I built along the way that really cemented what was about the foundation to what was to come. And I owe that all to like that voice linking me with you guys. Awesome. That was definitely an important time.
The way you felt, just like, I gotta do this. We kind of felt the same way. There's something there.
Same thing that was telling me to find you guys was telling you guys that just to embrace it. And we loved it because we weren't savvy with merch or anything like that. So we brought Grateful in, even when they didn't want you there, right?
we went to certain, I won't say the name of festivals, that we would get into these major festivals and it would be all a God thing. And they would say, do you have merch? And we'd say, yeah, we have merch. And it'd be Grateful Apparel.
But it was fun.
Yeah, like it was like, we were in debt, but this was great and it was needed. It was necessary.
It sucked to pay $1,000 in gas to sell one T-shirt, but it was fun.
And to have like 4 or 5 stinky grown men in your car for that long was tough.
16 hours.
But I tell you this much, because I haven't really dwelled on reminiscing about those days too much. I used to have like this insanely good memory about every detail of everything that ever happened in Double Edge in that 10 years that we were together. I don't remember the details anymore. I can't remember shows or anything like that. But what I do remember is the car rides, the hotel,
the White Road.
The White Road. The back.
Shout out to Manny and the White Road. The White Road, Manny.
Sticking with the music, you've linked up with major people, whether it was strategic or not. Have those musical links have really led to what appears to be a very successful move for you guys. Guys like Andy Menio, seeing guys like Lecrae wear your shirts, seeing actresses and artists wearing the clothing. Is that, it just always seemed like that was the target for you. Is that a strategic move, or is it just the people you happen to mingle with?
Yeah, all that stuff is like organic, man. It all stems from that voice that told me to link up with you guys, and through linking up with you guys, it opened the whole world of, networking. And in the networking, I just started to meet people. And one of the most important things is, and I can't take credit for it, it's just something somehow that, we all got something. Like, you can play the guitar, and this is the thing I have, that I've always looked at a relationship as how can I help them. And in that, I've always been able to foster a really solid relationship, as opposed to meeting people and trying to figure out how could I get them to do this and that, do that. No, it's always been like, how can I pour into that person? And not even on some old, some having a plot.
Like a motive, yeah.
A motive. It would just literally be like, when I met Andy, he was just at a booth next to me, and he had merchandise, and I was like, he had a T-shirt, the Sin is Wax shirt that he had did, and then I was like, yo, I think we could do a better version of that shirt for you. And that's kind of how we linked, and I remember giving him like 400 shirts, just saying, yo, here, for you. This is, you talking about before Andy, not the Andy of today, like the Andy of like every other rapper. The C-Light, and
Andy Menio's stage name before he went with his normal
C-Light. So there was millions of rappers like that. I couldn't have. I'm not a savvy rapper to know that this is the next star. Right. No, it was just something about him that I liked, and I was like, yo, I think we could do a better shirt for you. We did, and we blessed him with like a first batch of his shirts, and the rest is history. Me and Andy are like, I'm like his big brother. You know what I mean? I love Andy like he's my little brother.
That's amazing, and that's the thing that I love about what you've done, is that it's a lot of your relationships, your collaborations have stem from true relationship, because even with us, I can attest to that. I mean, what you thought may have on the outside looked like a sponsorship almost, on the inside was, no, he was the 5th member of our band. We always joked about that, we always joke you were playing bass in the
I used to joke sometimes, be like, yo, can I just stand on stage and tap my foot or something? With the tambourine or something.
The triangle.
Yeah. I want to go on stage one day, like the triangle. That's right.
Well, Andy at least brought you on tour.
Andy, he did bring me on tour.
Which was that was
27 dates. Yeah, it was pretty big. I spoke at each one.
Your introverted.
So I went from barely being able to speak to you guys when I first met you to speaking on like a major tour with Andy.
Which is amazing, because I love the fact that, because in the beginning we talked about like, we used to talk about your online presence more, and it clearly was, you were almost looking for either the brand to speak for itself or someone else to represent the brand, be the face of the brand. You wanted to be the background, but I love that it's you, that you're the face of this brand now.
Yeah, I owe that to my man Ronnie Bonner.
Ronnie Bonner? Yeah,
from UGP, Shadow Conspiracy, Sub Rosa. I owe that all to him. We were talking, and he was like, this is probably 5 years into Grateful, right? background, always never wanted to be in the front. And he was like, yo, man, you need to really show your personality a little more and let people know who you are, because people like you.
Right.
At that point, I really didn't realize. I come from like real weird background, insecure. Nobody ever affirmed me. So I kind of, even as an adult, I kind of like, held on to some of those negative characteristics. So having lunch with my man Ron, he was like, yo, man, you should really show people who you are. You're a really cool dude. People will like you. And I'm like, nah, man. I kind of like that nobody knows who the owner of the brand is. It's kind of mysterious and this, that, the other thing. And I remember being confident, being like, yeah, I like this. And he was like, you're the only person who thinks that's cool. And I was like, wow. It was like, poof.
Yeah.
And I kind of understood what he meant and I ran with it.
Nice.
I said, I didn't run with it. I started to like kind of test it or jog with it. And kind of started making myself the face a little more. And that changed everything. Was like the catalyst to like the next level of Grateful.
If you're not getting this by now, everything started because you wanted to help somebody from the very beginning. You thought you could be a helpful to this band, to Andy Menio, to the 360 House.
360 House first,
right?
And then when the voice told me to reach out to you, it was how could I bring value to you guys?
And clearly you did. You were the rock. How many times did we sit in that room and think we should probably quit? And you said, no, you wouldn't. Even when the last meeting we ever had together, we were like, Ray, it's time. We just all feel it. And you were like, no. We got text messages from Ray years after we stopped the band saying, yo, when are we getting back together? When's the reunion?
Still, till today, we're definitely going to have a reunion. We're definitely going to do it. Just so you know, we are going to do a double-edged show reunion eventually. I promise you.
Yeah, we're just gonna be all old and backs gonna hurt.
Music is timeless.
It was
Shout out to
time,
Ephraim. Shout out to Ephraim. Manny, Napo. I need some coffee. Take me up. Take me up, Napo.
Yes, I'm not like a huge. I love coffee, but I mean, he makes me want to drink coffee on a different level, man. I just want to taste what he's making. I love Napo.
We good people.
I really love, what the brand has become, more so because the integrity's never changed. It's been about relationship. It's been about helping people. It's been about gratitude. It's in the name. Even when we last spoke on the phone, right? He called me on the 5th of July and he said, yo, Jay, you working? And I said, yeah, unfortunately. Ray goes, yeah, unfortunately you get to feed your kids, right? Yo, be grateful, bro. Like, all right, yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's always been there. You've always been the uplifter, even through your personal struggles, Before we end, can you talk a little bit about, clearly you're the encourager, but how do you stay encouraged and positive even through some of the downtimes in your personal life and with the brand?
Man, I just gotta stay connected, man. I always gotta stay connected. I always gotta be reading. I always gotta be around positive people. I have to be aggressive in being in that place, because I can easily drift and listen to the lies of the world, the lies of the voices in my head. So I have to be on point when it comes to like my sanity and keeping grounded by just reading the word first and foremost, and being around like-minded people who love me and encourage me and are riding with me, die for me, like literally.
So I have one last question before I let you go. Obviously, we're not talking to a fellow guitarist here, and on this channel you would probably expect that, but coming from a musician standpoint, right, one of the things that when I was up and coming, I really desperately wanted to be sponsored by somebody in some kind of way, whether it was a pedal, clothing line, guitar company, whatever, because I wanted things, I wanted that status. I don't know why we want that, but I think musicians think like that sometimes. Not that you're looking for someone to link up with at this point in your brand, but what do you look for? What do you recommend musicians do and have an understanding of when linking up with a company for some sort of partnership or sponsorship and on that level?
It's funny because there's two answers to that. So I look at it from like a personal perspective. Like if I organically meet somebody and I just love them, there's something about them that I want to pour into them, then the second part doesn't necessarily matter, because I'll just pour into them, I'll sponsor them or help them, better put. But as far as just the general public, because once you gain some momentum, a lot of people DM us, I want a sponsorship. So as far as you guys who don't know the people that you're trying to get sponsorship from, you have to understand that this is a business, and you got to understand that you have to bring some value to this relationship. It can't be like you have 200 followers and you're going to Nike and you're saying, hey man, sponsor me. Like, what do you have to offer Nike? Like, you get what I'm saying? What do you have to offer Grateful? And I hate the way that sounds, but it's the truth. It's like I can't sponsor every single person that DMs me. It's impossible. We're running a business. We have bills to pay. If we did that, we just crash financially. So what value do you bring to the table? So just understand that you need value. What value do you bring? And you can build value, but please do not seek sponsorship prematurely, because you're gonna get your feelings hurt, and you're gonna blame the other person. This, that, the other thing. When in all reality, it's your fault. You get what I'm saying?
That's the key, is being an asset. And when you partner with somebody, you're essentially working with them and for them. You got to be able to promote that brand and be an example. You also want to be like, do I represent this brand? Can I be a representative? Do I want to wear this shirt proudly?
Am I just trying to get free stuff, or am I the brand that you're trying to get sponsored from? Am I a perfect fit for Grateful? Am I a perfect fit for underground products or Shadow Conspiracy?
I would probably wear the shirt whether I was sponsored or not. That's what you want to that's what you want to do. Nice. Well, look, Ray, thank you so much for this. Thank you for letting us into your headquarters. I hope you get a lot out of this video. Please go in my description. Check out all of the links for Ray. We're going to link your Twitter. You're going to link your Instagram. You're going to link your webpage, and we're going to link. You have a YouTube channel too, where you put some of your.
Yeah, we're actually going to start vlogging. Actually.
Nice.
Yeah, doing this thing called Rug Talk. So.
Yes.
Kind of similar to what we're doing now.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a behind the scenes thing. You guys follow him on Instagram. You see the Rug Talks that he puts up. That's going to turn into a video thing, which is like, just makes perfect sense. So look out for that. Follow him on YouTube. You can see what's going to be coming up. Thank you again, Ray. I hope you've enjoyed this video. That was the amazing, grateful Ray of Grateful Apparel. Now you know why we've been friends for almost 10 full years. That is because of his amazingly gentle heart. He loves people. He loves blessing people. He loves his brand, and he is honestly the most grateful person I've ever met. Even through some of his most difficult battles in life, he's managed to be the most encouraging person I've ever known. Thank you to Grateful Apparel. Thank you to Grateful Ray. You know the deal. Please like this video, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you know exactly when I upload a video, and feel free to comment below, show some love to Ray, and subscribe to his YouTube channel as he's about to start releasing some amazing content. Until next time.